Okay, I had originally hoped to incorporate clips of the episode in this video, but I kept getting copyright blocked, so we're stuck with this format for the foreseeable future. Also, I won't be covering everything laughably wrong with this episode because there's just so much, and I want to keep this video around the half-hour mark. Also, if you haven't seen The Witcher, might I suggest you watch it before you watch this video? And if you have already seen The Witcher, just think of this as a different way of enjoying the show that you didn't know was possible. So let's start with, oddly enough, the very beginning of the episode, in which the Kikimora and Geralt were obviously fighting below the surface of the swamp level, and I have to reenact it since I can't show the clip. So here's the water level, or the surface of the water, and the Kikimora and Geralt were obviously beneath the surface of the water level because that's where they were originally. They break the surface of the water, okay, and the water instantly goes from being deep enough for them to be fully submerged, and then once they break the surface, are now standing in what? 2 feet of water. Like, how does the water level instantly change from being deep enough to fully submerge the Kikimora to suddenly being 2 feet deep? Right? But if that's not enough, the Kikimora then grabs Geralt and then shoves him under the water level surface, and the water now is about 4 or 5 feet deep. Like, is the water level of this, swamp, whatever, as deep as however the writers need it to be for whatever idea pops into their little heads? But then we have the fact that the Kikimora has Geralt underneath the water, and I'm going, is the Kikimora's plan to try and drown Geralt? Because the opening shot is of what had to have been Geralt and the Kikimora already fighting beneath the water for over a minute, if not longer. And when Geralt and the Kikimora, exited the water, Geralt was in no way gasping for air or showed any problems having been underwater for so long. So are the writers seriously trying to attempt to establish some kind of tension in the fact that Geralt is now possibly drowning, when not a minute before you had it that Geralt was underneath the water for over a minute without any problems? Well, why would I possibly think that the writers would keep a level of consistency on whether Geralt can or cannot breathe underwater when these same writers couldn't even keep consistent how deep the water is that they're standing in? But if that's not enough, you now have the Geralt. Okay, the Kikimora has grabbed Geralt and pinned him to whatever you want to call the bottom of this swamp, because it keeps changing for some reason. And the Kikimora has Geralt pinned. Now, Geralt is, the body of Geralt is under, like, the Kikimora is like, here's Geralt, here's the Kikimora. Geralt is quite literally beneath the Kikimora. The Kikimora has one of its appendages and has Geralt pinned down. Geralt's dodging ability is restricted to this. Yet for some reason, despite the fact that Geralt is beneath the Kikimora, is pinned down by the Kikimora is constantly attacking with his appendages and is somehow missing Geralt. How? Like, Geralt is right underneath the Kikimora. What's there to miss? It's my... How is this not laughably pathetic that the Kikimora is standing directly above Geralt and is literally punching the ground, and this is a creature that is punching the ground and missing the ground. Okay? So we now leave the swamp and we have Geralt entering Blaviken. And he's riding through the town and there's people all around him. Okay? There's people all around him. People that he could easily ask which way to the alderman's house. Yet for some reason, Geralt has absolutely either doesn't understand that he can ask people on the street in front of him which way to the alderman's house, or the writers don't understand how that works, but instead has to go to a tavern and ask, I guess, the barmaid for directions to the alderman's house. Why? Geralt could easily have asked anybody on the street to the tavern for directions to the alderman's house. Except, how else would Geralt end up encountering Renfri? Do you understand how laughably forced this writing is? But then we have Geralt entering the tavern, and everybody's all anxious at the fact that there's a witcher in the tavern. How they all know he's a witcher doesn't really get explained. Apparently, they just know. And the Geralt ends up asking the barmaid, again, I don't know what her position is, directions to the alderman's house. And I guess the owner or whatever interrupts the girl and tells the witcher that his kind is not welcome here and to leave. Now this causes Nohorn and his men to, threaten the witcher, and tension has ensued. But it's broken by the fact that Renfri is introduced, and she and apparently Nohorn and her men are commanded by Renfri. Renfri orders her men to stand down and disperse. This causes the tension to drop, and all the patrons have now relaxed and everything. So that's fine, not a problem. Except at this point, the owner of the bar, who doesn't want the witcher's kind in his tavern, should have then gone, okay, witcher, you can now leave. Except he doesn't. Apparently now, the witcher gets to stay? Why? The owner never changed his mind about whether or not the witcher is or isn't allowed in his tavern anymore. Except now he suddenly is? Did the tavern owner forget that he doesn't want the witcher's kind in his tavern anymore? Then we have Renfri talking with Geralt. And Renfri asks Geralt, why doesn't he travel the main roads? And Geralt's reply is, it's hard to make a living on the main roads. What are you talking about? You don't make your living on the main roads. The main roads has nothing to do with how you make a living. In case you forgot, Geralt, how you make a living, you go from town to town, or to castle, or to village, or to wherever, and if anybody wants to hire you to kill a monster, that's how you make a living. Not traveling or not traveling the main roads has absolutely nothing to do with people paying you to kill monsters, because that's how you make a living. How does traveling the forest or the back or the lowlands or the hilly area somehow in any way, make your living easier. It doesn't. This line makes absolutely no sense at all. So then we are introduced to Marilka. Okay, this is mind-blowing. Now, Marilka ends up establishing that she's the daughter of the alderman. Now, when Geralt first asks the barmaid for directions, this is amazing. He has a piece of paper, and all it says on the piece of paper is seeking Witcher. Now, when Marilka informs Geralt that the alderman has no use for a Kikimora, Geralt says he posted a flyer. Is Geralt talking about the piece of paper that only says seeking Witcher? Nothing on that flyer says that it was posted by the alderman. Nothing on that flyer says anything about it being from the town of Blaviken. Nothing on that flyer says anything about a Kikimora or a Gravier. All Geralt found was a piece of white sheet paper that said seeking Witcher. How did Geralt get all this extraneous information about what was necessary? There's nothing on the flyer to say it came from Blaviken. Nothing on the flyer said it came from the alderman. Nothing on the flyer said it was a Kikimora or a Gravier. So what? Did Geralt just randomly travel through the swamp because he doesn't travel the main roads and came across a piece of paper that said seeking Witcher and went, well, I guess since there's a Kikimora in the swamp, that must be what I have to kill? Because he doesn't even know what the target or what the job is. He simply assumed it was the Kikimora. Like if Geralt was traveling through a forest and found a white sheet of paper that said seeking Witcher, would Geralt have just assumed whatever monster was in the forest, that was the job that he was going to be asked to kill? Like, there's no logical anything in regards to this job offer. There's nothing for him, because again, all the flyer says is seeking Witcher. Like, not only that, who posted it? Who went into the middle of a swamp thinking that Witchers travel through swamps in case? He didn't find it on the main roads because the Witcher doesn't travel the main roads. So where did he find this flyer unless it was in the swamp? So who posted it in the... So then, Geralt finds out that he killed a Kikimora for nothing. And Marilka offers the advice of, hey, you could always go to the wizard because the wizard pays for odds and ends for magical components. Or Geralt could go to the alderman and get the job to kill the Gravier. Like, why doesn't Geralt just take the job that actually exists of killing the Gravier? It would obviously pay more than whatever the wizard is going to pay for odds and ends. Because remember, Geralt only goes to the wizard not because he knows that as a job. He's only going to try and unload, the fact that he killed a Kikimora for nothing. Go get the job killing the Gravier. Because not only that, even when Geralt turns down Stregobor and leaves, he leaves Blaviken. He still doesn't go get the job killing the Gravir, which is an actual job that he could get paid for. Like, did the writers forget that there's an actual job for Geralt? Because again, according to Geralt, there's only two things: money and monsters. Unless you somehow forget that there's a job. Then we have Marilka leading Geralt to the Wizard's Tower, and she's spouting off a list of monsters she wonders if Geralt has killed. One of the monsters she names is the Striga. And wait a minute, but we find out in a later episode that Strigas are very rare. In fact, they are so rare that a sorceress considers them an old wives' tale. So how does Marilka know of a Striga? I thought they're supposed to be extremely rare. But then here's the kicker. She ends up saying, one of the monsters she says is a she-wolf. And Geralt goes, those don't exist. And Marilka goes, aha, which means you've killed all the others. Well, wait a minute. Again, a Striga is so rare that a sorceress doesn't even believe they exist. So shouldn't Marilka be surprised to know that she just found out that Strigas are real? Then I love this one. Geralt makes it to the tower, the Wizard's Tower, and either the door is an illusion of some kind, or it's magical in that the wizard can decide who or who cannot enter through the magical doorway, right? That's fine, not a problem. Only one question. Here's the thing, though. Why doesn't Renfri just go through the magical door? Because Renfri is immune to magic. If Renfri is immune to magic, and the door and the front door to the Wizard's Tower is a magical door, there's nothing to stop Renfri. Because she's immune to magic, she wouldn't be affected by the magical door. The writers established that Renfri is immune to magic, and then established a magical door to the Wizard's Tower. At any time, Renfri can walk right through that magical door and kill Stregobor. There's nothing to stop her. Okay? Sorry. Okay? So anyway, Geralt ends up discussing with Stregobor, and Stregobor wants to hire the Witcher to kill Geralt. Again, not a problem, but then it's like, oh, wait a minute. What was Stregobor's plan before Geralt showed up? Like if the Witcher hadn't showed up, what was Stregobor's plan? To just stay in the tower indefinitely? I understand he wants to stay because he wants to study Renfri, but he can't study Renfri because Renfri will kill him as soon as he shows up. So Geralt or Stregobor can't leave the tower, and for some reason Renfri doesn't want to walk through the magical door and kill Stregobor. So what what is Stregobor's plan? To just stay in the tower until what? Like, why doesn't Stregobor just hire a couple of dozen men to kill Renfrey? Right? Ambush her or something. Hey, why not hire a witcher? Well, wait a minute. Maybe it was Stregobor that posted the Seeking Witcher flyer in the swamp. It's not like there's any actual information on the flyer that couldn't imply otherwise. So so in other words, when Geralt saw this flyer Seeking Witcher, it could have easily have been Stregobor looking for a witcher to take out Renfrey. Yet somehow Geralt saw this and went, no, I think it's me having to kill. And here's the other thing about how ridiculous it was for Geralt to kill the Kikimora. He never negotiated a price. Like every other time he gets hired or he hires himself out, he always negotiates or establishes a price. Except for some reason in this situation, he killed the Kikimora first and then decided to negotiate a price? What if the person who hired him said, I don't want to pay you? He would have literally killed the Kikimora for free. We take a break from Geralt, and we are now introduced to Queen Calanth, her husband, I can't remember his name, and Ciri. And it's a bit of backtracking because you have to end up seeing a later episode to understand how ridiculously ludicrous this statement is. Because the king turns to Queen Calanth and mentions how this little shindig they're in reminds him of Queen Calanth's daughter's betrothal feast. Now, at the time that line is said, it's utterly meaningless. Except in episode 5, I think it is, when we actually see what actually happened at Queen Calanth's daughter's betrothal feast, that line, that shindig in episode 1 in any way reminds him of the betrothal feast is bullshit. Like, you cannot watch episode 1. Like, if you watch the series and you watch it over again and you start at episode 1, you cannot hear that line and go bullshit. It literally destroys any continuity that this show has. And not only that, he ends up going, he remembers how she agreed to marry him and made him the happiest man on the continent. Really? That's all you remember? That's the only thing you remember at the betrothal feast. You cannot have seen this show, watch episode 1 over again, get to that scene, and take this show at all seriously. At all. Sorry. Okay, the show then cuts to Geralt speaking to Renfrey in the forest, in which Renfrey is explaining how she intends to enact revenge against Stregobor for ruining her life, and that she intends to kill him. Okay, out of curiosity, Renfrey, what was your plan to do this? Because Stregobor isn't leaving his tower. You, for some reason, don't want to walk through the magical door that you're immune to and be able to walk into the tower and kill him. So, in other words, Stregobor won't leave the tower. You won't go into the tower. So, how did you plan on killing him? No, seriously. Like, what was her plan? I understand she wants to kill him. What was her plan to be able to do it? If Stregobor won't leave the tower and she won't go in the tower, literally, forget the door. Forget the door, right? Grappling hook, ladder into an open window, anything. She has absolutely no plan or intention to actually even try and enter the goddamn tower. So what was she gonna do? Just hang out in the tavern indefinitely? This show has no idea what it's doing. Okay? This show is just making this stuff up without any level of consistency. Nah. Okay, now we're going to get into a little bit of a sensitive area, but I'm sorry, I have to call this out. Renfrey explains how Stregobor sent a man to kill her, and that man ended up raping her, robbing her, and letting her go. But then she ends up saying this. She ends up saying, "No more princess." And now, as despicable an act as he performed, how does that no longer make her a princess? I'm sorry. It's like, that's not how royal lineage works. You can't just go, he raped me and robbed me, and now I'm no longer a princess? Like, how? What? Like, I need some explanation on this. You can't just spout off that line as if that makes sense, because it doesn't. Okay? I understand it's a sensitive topic, but you can't just go, he did that to me, and that no longer makes me a princess. That's not how it works, boys and girls. Sorry. Then there's this exchange about whether or not, because Geralt asks Renfrey, "Are you a monster?" And Renfrey goes, "How should I know?" And she says, "When I cut my finger, I bleed. That's human, right?" Yeah. Like when you take it, when you skewer a gigamora, a kikimora with a sword, and it bleeds, that must mean the kikimora is human, because it this show is trying to establish this utter bullshit of, because I bleed, that makes me human. So do animals. So do monsters. That doesn't. And then to help establish she's not human, or she's a human, she doesn't know. When I overeat, my stomach aches. I laugh when I'm happy. When I'm upset, I swear. These are your qualifications of what makes you a human. These are the lamest attempts at trying to justify she's not a monster that these writers could possibly come up with. I mean, hey, Renfrey, here's a couple of other little examples you could use. You're immune to magic. You're only hurt by silver. You forgot to mention those couple of examples, because that would have sealed the deal, wouldn't it? I mean, come on. When I laugh, when I'm happy, I laugh, and I don't know how I can or cannot establish I'm a human or a monster, because when I cut myself, I bleed? Okay, who's buying this bullshit? This is laughable. This is not only laughable in that Geralt is buying this, but you as a goddamn audience are listening to this absolute drivel and bullshit and going, gee, she has a point? Like, I mean, there's a Monty Python sketch about what makes a witch. Like King Arthur is explaining how a witch works. I'm not going to go through the whole bit. If you want to know, it's on YouTube. That explanation, okay, the Monty Python bit is quite literally scientifically based compared to Renfrey's bullshit attempt at trying to explain or obfuscate whether or not she is or isn't a monster or not. It's absolute bullshit. Then Renfrey goes to Geralt. They call you a monster. Why not kill them? This is Geralt's bullshit answer. Because then I'll be what they say I am. Bullshit, Geralt. Okay? The reason you don't kill them is because if you were to kill them, they wouldn't hire you anymore to kill monsters for them. Like, you need them a lot. You don't kill them because it would be bad for business. Not because you'll be what they say they are, you sanctimonious bullshit artist. You don't kill them because it'll be bad for it's a bad business decision to kill your clientele, okay? That's why you don't kill them, okay? Because they'll be what they say I am. Okay, fine. Who else is gonna hire you? Okay? Nobody. It's the people who are calling you a monster, but at the same time, when nobody's looking, are the same people that hire you to kill monsters for them. I don't kill them because then they'll say I am. Bullshit. Then, if this is not enough, Renfri says if she cannot forgive Stregobor or renounce her revenge, she has to admit she's a monster? And Geralt goes, yes? What? What? That's not what establishes a monster, you idiots! Like, are you telling me that to be classified as a monster, you have to seek if you seek revenge against someone, that now classifies you as a monster? Because that'll easily open up Geralt's employment opportunity, I'll tell you that. Like, how pathetically ridiculous can the show be where that Renfri asks, if I cannot renounce my revenge, that makes me a monster? And Geralt goes, yes. That not like in the Book of Monsters, that Witcher study, does it go Kikimora, werewolves, strigas, people who seek revenge? Like, seriously, this is such a bullshit line. I don't understand how you can take this show seriously. I'm sorry. But you know what? Let's go with it. Let's go with it. Let's go along the lines that, because again, Geralt's a witcher. He's a professional monster hunter. He should know what he's talking about. So if Geralt says, if a witcher says that her seeking revenge and being unable to renounce her revenge against Stregobor makes her a monster, if that makes her a monster, can Geralt now take the job for Stregobor? Because remember, Geralt only kills monsters. So if according to, Geralt, if you can't renounce your revenge, then I can now be hired to kill you? But then he goes, or you could just leave and forget. Here's the problem with that, you brain-dead story writers. Stregobor is still after her. Stregobor still wants to kill her and examine her. Remember the whole curse thing? The Demon Queen, 60 women that are gonna, rivers of blood. Remember all that stuff? Even if Renfri renounces her revenge and leaves Blaviken, that's not gonna stop Stregobor from hunting her down and trying to kill her. Do the writers of this show not read the script they write? This doesn't make any sense. Then we go back to Queen Calanthe, and she's on the open battlefield with the Nilfgaard. Why? Why is she meeting the Nilfgaard in an open field as opposed to the strategic advantage of her city walls? It's not like they have catapults and siege weapons. What were they going to do against the city walls of Sintra? Not only that, why didn't you bring Mousesack with you? Why would you give up the strategic advantage of a wizard or a mage in an open battle so he can protect Ciri? which absolutely has no value when the Nilfgaard army eventually gets to Sintra anyway. And I'll get to Mousesack later. Not only that, they're outnumbered 3-1. Like, when the scouts reported, by the way, when the scouts reported the Nilfgaard army is approaching, did the scouts not mention, hey, by the way, it might be important to know they number in the thousands? Like, the scouts didn't, share that information? So Queen Calanthe and her army pretty much are getting slaughtered. Right? So the battle's starting, right? And they're getting their asses kicked. And I'm going, is retreating not an option? She's going, we will not surrender. We cannot surrender. Okay, retreat. Like, hey, Queen Calanthe, remember the first rule that you told Siri? Always keep moving. Good advice. Move away from the army that's kicking your ass. Like, why can't she? No, she's got to. Then the king dies. Okay? And Queen Calanthe now has to have her diva melodramatic moment where she is now wailing and gnashing of teeth over her dead husband. Okay, here's the thing though. The area around her, there's nobody fighting. There's literally an empty space of area around Queen Calanthe, hunched over her dead husband. It's not like there's Queen's guards blocking them. They're just voluntarily, have this. Then Queen Calanthe looks up and sees the guy on horseback. And I guess we're led to believe that it's the guy on horseback that fired the arrow that killed the king. Fire another arrow. Like, why doesn't the guy on horseback... Like, Queen Calanthe is pretty much in the open. When she was hunched, though, like fire another arrow. Like, did you only have the one arrow? Like, shoot her. Shoot her. But no, because you can't have Queen Calanthe die before her diva drama queen moment when she when she jumps out the window. I can't wait. I'm going to get to that. She jumps. Oh my god, that was so pathetic. So anyway, we get to this scene. We end up getting it where Queen Calanthe is brought back to the castle. And she's wounded. How they got her back, I'll let go. I don't have a problem. Because that's not the laughable part of this scene. It's the fact that she's wounded. They put her on a couch, and it's like, anybody want to heal Queen Calanthe? Is there a doctor in the house? Somebody want to put a healing salve or a bandage or some, like, anything? Like, does anybody want to help treat the wound that the queen is suffering? Nah, that's not a big deal. Why is nobody tending to Queen Calanthe's wound, injury, at all? Right? Nothing. And then she goes, let me rest, child. You want to rest. Hey, Queen Calanthe. Okay, newsflash. The Nilfgaard army is coming to kick your ass. How about this for a plan of action? Get the hell out of Sintra. You want to take a nap? Are you... The Nilfgaard army's coming. What's her plan of action? I want to take a nap. This is the lioness of Sintra? And here's another question. The Nilfgaard army is going to Sintra. Okay, you know that's their destination. Why did you bring Queen Calanthe to the one place the Nilfgaard army is going to? Well, why wouldn't you bring Queen Calanthe to, somewhere else where she could recover. But if you actually knew that healing potions work or healing cells work or stuff like that. But the point is, why not take Queen Calanth and bring her somewhere safe so she could recuperate and try to regain her city back? She could have sent messengers ahead of time to go to have either Laszlo, I think his name is, or Mousak, and go, hey, the Nilfgaard army is coming. Get Ciri out of there. Meet me at whatever safe haven they have. No. Let's bring Queen Calanth to the one destination, the Nilfgaard army that has already taken down their army, meaning Sintra has nothing to stop the Nilfgaard army from taking over and destroying the city. So you bring the queen to the what? Then we have Mousak, this glorious Mousak. Because the Nilfgaard army has now breached the walls and they're about to, get to the castle gate. And Mousak opens up the bay windows, right? And I'm thinking, okay, a mage here. Now, what are we talking about? What are we talking here? Fireball? Summoning up a demon? A hail of lightning bolts? Maybe he was gonna open up, cause an earthquake to swallow the Nilfgaard army? No, an invisible barrier to block the castle door. That's what you got? Because he's not actually doing anything to take out the army. His plan is to delay the inevitable? That's all he's doing. This is a mage. Can somebody please give this guy a D&D player's handbook and understand that there's more than just force energy things? A fireball, a light. Do something to actually cause damage to the invading army that wants to kill you. And then we have the Nilfgaard army firing the arrows at the invisible barrier. This was a joke. This was a joke. Because here's the thing. The way the scene is set up, it's kind of meant to imply that the Nilfgaard archers have been firing at this wall for so long that it's now nighttime. Except here's the problem. Okay? Here's one of the laughable mistakes of this show. One of the many dozens. Is that they couldn't have been firing for hours. They couldn't have been firing for an hour. They couldn't have been firing for even 10 minutes. You know why? Because there would have been a pile of spent arrows burning on the ground. Except you don't see a pile of arrows on the ground burning. You literally see them firing for the first time, because once they fire and hit the visible barrier, the arrows that you see, that's the first volley they ever shot against the invisible barrier. Not only that, after 3 volleys, they penetrate the invisible barrier that Mousak established. How weak-ass is this barrier, or how weak-ass is Mousak, that 3 volleys of arrows eliminates this barrier that he created? This is a joke. Not only that, I love this. So he goes, hopefully, because Ciri goes, how long can you hold out? As long as I need to, right? And then when the arrows go through the wall, go through the barrier, Mousak gives up and goes back in and goes, oh, I guess I can't do it. And it's like, wait a minute. Hey, Mousak, any other spells available? Do you know any other magic Like, why couldn't Mousak cast any other type of magic? Why couldn't he put the invisible barrier back up again? Does he only have the one spell and can only cast it one time? Is that how magic works in this? This is ridiculous. This is mind-boggling. You have to be insane to see, the wizard, the court wizard, cast one spell, that's all I can do. But anybody else got anything else? Cast another spell, moron. Again, I don't know how you can take this show seriously at all. Oh, and here's another question. You knew the Nilfgaard army was coming. While Mousak, okay, even if we go along the lines that Mousak had that invisible barrier up for hours, leave! Why doesn't Queen Calanth order Ciri to leave? Why does Queen Calanth actually have to wait until the Nilfgaard army penetrates every defense they have, is now entering the castle, and go, you know what? I think we should leave. I think Ciri should leave now. But why didn't you think that up before your nap? Why didn't you think that up before they were actually firing? This show has Queen Calanth wait until the very minute that the Nilfgaard army is about to kill them and go, now we'll have Ciri leave. Just, oh, and here's the other thing. Okay, the poison. Let me see if I get this straight. You have poison on stock in case you get invaded by an invading army of Nilfgaard soldiers because they don't take prisoners, but you don't have healing potions on stock? You have nothing. I'm listening to, because she goes, make sure we have enough. I forget the name of the guard that she goes to. She goes, make sure we have enough supplies. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's going to be like a siege. They're going to try and fortify it. No. Make sure we have enough supplies of poison. Do you not have any supplies of healing potions? And not only that, because Ciri goes, they've been gone for 2 days. Why did the guests stay? Why didn't the guests leave? Like the guests that had to kill themselves. Because the one woman goes, why don't we just leave or whatever? Oh, this is our way out. You could have left 2 days ago. Why couldn't the guests have left 2 days ago? No. Because the story needs them to kill themselves? I don't know how else to explain how laughably ridiculous this show is to you. So then they finally decide to have Ciri, Laszlo and Mousak. Hey, now that the Nilfgaard army has ransacked and destroyed the city, is all over the place, covering every area of the streets, now would be a good time to try and escape, because you couldn't possibly get captured now. Oh, and then the queen, okay, when I die, it's going to be far more dramatic than this. No, you diva. I believe the term you're looking for is melodramatic, because she literally just falls. That was pathetic. I'm sorry. Really? She did. So anyway, Ciri gets dealt with Ciri. Then we go back to Geralt, and he's in This is after he's had sex with Renfri. He wakes up in the forest because he has that vision that involves Renfri. And he goes back to Blaviken. Because he has to go to the market. Well, why would Geralt think that Renfri is back in Blaviken? Renfri told Geralt before he slept that she's given up revenge, that she's leaving. As far as Geralt knows, Renfri's gone. Nothing in the vision challenges that. Like, nothing in the vision contradicts or changes that concept. There is literally no reason for Geralt to go back to Blaviken, except the writers had no goddamn clue how to get Geralt back to Blaviken, so they just made him go back to Blaviken. Then he encounters Renfri's men, Nohorn and their men. And I love this line. I love this line. One of them goes, you have an ultimatum. You have to choose the lesser evil. Okay. Out of curiosity, can he pick Stregobor's lesser evil, which is to kill Renfri? Or does he or can he just pick, or does he have to pick Renfri's lesser evil, which is to kill Stregobor? Because according to Geralt, evil is evil. It doesn't make a difference, doesn't it? Do you understand the sanctimonious bullshit that this show requires to have whatever bullshit moralistic moral they want? Then we of course get the obligatory fight scene where Nohorn and his men rush at Geralt one at a time, because it's not like they actually wanted to have a plan of actually, defeating Geralt as opposed to just getting themselves killed. Then I love this one. So Geralt kills, he ends up killing the guy with the crossbow, whatever. I don't even think he has a name. Then he turns around and there's an alleyway and there's these two or three guys with shields, right? They have shields on. And then Geralt does this little magic puffball or whatever, and the two guys with the shields go like this. And I was like, what the hell was that? That didn't do squat. Like, when he fights the Striga, he's able to force, again, some Star Wars, Jedi Force manipulation. Like, when Geralt is dealing with the Striga, he can, force push that Striga clear across the room. But with these two mercenaries, he does this little. What was that push? That was pathetic. It didn't even do anything. And then he ends up killing him anyway. It was just what was the magic for? What was that little push? It didn't. Then Renfri shows up, and now Renfri has a plan. Renfri has come up with a plan on how to kill Stregobor. You want to know what her brilliant plan is? She's going to kill everyone in town until Stregobor comes out of his tower. Why would killing everybody in town somehow convince Stregobor to leave his tower so that Renfri could kill him? And not only that, wouldn't the townsfolk have a problem with this plan? Do the townsfolk have a say in this? Or are they just going to blindly just let themselves be killed and not... And are there no town guards or anything in this town that might want to, impede or stop this? And here's another one. Let's say Renfri goes through her plan and actually kills everybody in town, and Stregobor still doesn't leave. What's she gonna do then? How would killing everyone in town in any way convince Stregobor that he should get out and have Renfri kill him? It's not like Stregobor has any loyalty to this town or these towns. These writers are idiots. These writers have no goddamn clue what they're doing at all. Then, this bullshit. Renfri explains to Geralt, because Geralt's about to try and do that little magic bullshit push that he did with the guards on Renfri. And Renfri goes, magic doesn't work on me, but silver does. And Geralt goes, but that only works on monsters. Yes, you moron! Get the hint! Like, she's literally telling you, I'm a monster, Geralt! And Geralt's like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. You're too subtle in what you're talking about. Like, why is Geralt unable to accept the fact that Renfri is a monster? There's literally no reason for him not to accept this. Why? Because he slept with him? There's literally no other reason for him to have such a hard time accepting or dealing with the fact that she's a monster. None. Then we get to Ciri, who's on the back of the horseman, leaving a burning Sintra. Now, it's not like Ciri just woke up and noticed the burning city. They've been riding away from the city. She was fully awake this entire time, and suddenly, for no inexplicable reason, decides now she's gonna scream her banshee scream. Why didn't she scream her banshee scream when, after the horseman killed Laszlo and was literally standing over him? Wouldn't that have been a good time for Ciri to, scream at him and try to escape? No. Why wouldn't, once they're on horseback leaving, why wouldn't that have been a good time? No. Why don't you wait until you ride for 15, 20 minutes, you're miles away, is this the first time she noticed that the city was on fire? While she was, they're riding away from the town, or the city. She's looking back. Did she not notice before that the city was on fire? Because, but no. You have to wait until Ciri is in the middle of an open field near where there's a giant pillar of a jutting rock. The only pillar of a rock in this entire field that exists for no other reason except for the fact that this scene requires it. That's where she has to scream, near the rock, the pillar of a rock. Okay? This show's pathetic. This show is a joke. There is absolutely zero reason to take this show at all seriously, other than laughing at it as the joke that it is. Because once she screams and knocks the guy off the horse, that's when the rock falls in between them. But the guy on the horse, no, and doesn't go after her. What? Why doesn't he just get back on the horse and ride around? Because the rock, drops and creates a chasm. Fine. Go around the chasm and give chase. Like what? The chasm is now miles long in either direction? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, how stupid of an audience do you have to be to think that the chasm is suddenly miles wide in either direction? Then we go back to Geralt because Stregobor has come. Stregobor's come out of his tower. Guess why? Renfri's dead. Okay? It's the only way you're going to get Stregobor to get out the tower. He comes down and he sees Renfri. Geralt goes, touch her and you die. What? Why does Geralt suddenly have this intense loyalty to Renfri? It's absolutely unwarranted. There is nothing to establish this level of devotion and loyalty to Renfri. And you're going, oh, well, because he ends up going, oh, she used her magic on you too, right? Okay, let me see if I get this straight. She's used her magic to establish this loyalty that even when she's dead, Stregobor can't get to her, right? Except the crowd, after throwing rocks at him for a couple of seconds, and if that's the stoning, that's not how a stoning works, writers. But after they throw rocks at him for a couple of seconds, all they do is yell at him. And he leaves. Like, he's establishing such a devotion and loyalty that he will kill Stregobor if he touches her. But if people start yelling at him, he's gonna. That's okay. He'll leave. Let's see. Renfri magically controlled him. It's broken by the fact that people are yelling at him. Like, I'm devoted to you, Renfri, and I will follow your magical command. Except it didn't really work to stop me from fighting you. But it's suddenly affecting me to stop Stregobor from taking your body. And by the way, this magical spell is broken if people start yelling. Because he leaves. If you can't enjoy the show, you may as well laugh at it because that's all there is to this show. Okay? This obviously took longer than I expected. It probably took longer to do this than it did to, watch the episode, but oh my god, this show is Anyway, I'm done. I've already spent more than Again, this isn't even all the ridiculousness of this show, okay? But anyway, I'm rambling again, so I'm out of here. See you in episode 2.